you know.
Twitter is very powerful. I think with Twitter, anyone can do it. I feel like it's genuinely just time commitment. And
Yes.
all the information is already out there. I say this to my students all the time. All the information is already out there. So there's nobody coming up with revolutionary stuff on Twitter, 9 times out of 10. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can excel and impress is with volume, with quality. You're just that little bit more premium than the next guy. Right.
Yes.
And with volume, you've seen my Twitter account. I have thousands of tweets over the past few months, and that's super, super important. The quality, I give everything away for free.
Mm-hmm.
The upsell in the end is a coaching program. But with the amount of information that I give away for free, people are absolutely amazed. You know, people, even on my short form content recently, people are like, oh, this guy's scamming. He's just trying to sell a course. Andrew Tate want to be. And that's the mindset a lot of people have, even though I'm actually literally giving you a free course. All you have to do is sign up with your email, and that's it.
Yeah. I did notice there's a lot of skepticism there. It's kind of like Reddit in a way. Facebook people are kind of, I don't know, people are okay. They understand they're going to be sold to, and they mostly don't seem to mind. People do a lot of two-step posts and things like that. But definitely, like what I've seen, like I reached out to you because I went through your free course, your landing pages course, and thought this is really, really great. Like this is a really great course. This is something that, you know, I'd gladly pay for. Like it's a really good low ticket product. And like other people, like Charles Miller, he's got a personal branding. He's got a personal branding kind of like an ebook. It's about 50 pages. Brilliant resource. Again, it would make, like, you know, it would make a perfect low ticket product, like something that could be sold for between $10 and $30, and people would gladly pay for it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like that's, and you know, there's a reason why people do those low ticket products, is primarily to actually just to offset some of the advertising costs for running paid traffic. But it seems like on Twitter, and especially recently, people are able to just say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to do paid traffic. I'll focus on organic and get a lot of reach on organic, where there's not a lot of reach on organic, it seems, relative on Facebook. Some people get it, but they're relatively few, where lots of people seem to be getting good organic reach on Twitter.
Yeah, there's definitely a formula. You need to, you know, I provide this to all my students, and it's, you know, multiple threads per week, 2-3 threads per week, an auto DM giveaway. So that's essentially, I'm giving away for anyone that doesn't know, I'm giving away a file, say my free course, right? And I give you a sneak peek on every module that's in the free course. You comment, say, copy. And once you comment that, reply to my tweet, I'll send you a DM with access to the free course. All you do then is put in your email and your name, and you have full access. No, there's no cash transaction or anything. And I think the days of people just shelling out free or paid courses, I think it's gone, genuinely. I think people are so willing to give out the information for free in hopes of that upsell in the back end. I think I personally would not pay for a low ticket course unless I want complete convenience, right? That's the only reason I would pay for a course. And for someone like me, where like time, I'm essentially buying back my time at the moment, right? It's very valuable, but it's very hard to actually get, especially when you're running a business. Yesterday stood out to me a lot. It was the first time I was able to spend most of the day just researching. I wasn't busy with clients. I wasn't busy fulfilling. I was just researching, relaxing, watched the Formula One. And for me, it was so strange to do that. But Twitter is definitely a platform that's going to be much bigger in the future. I think the next generation coming up will understand how big the opportunities are on Twitter. It's completely different to anything we've ever seen before, and it's only the beginning.
Okay. So, Michael, your business is, tell us about it. What is it? Who do you serve? And where does your income come from?
Yeah, so I basically build landing pages. So I have two businesses. The first one is a landing page service. And all I do is I build people a one-page website to simplify a landing page. It's just a one-page website that is dedicated to do one thing, and that's get people to scroll to that call to action button and press buy now or book a call now. That's the ultimate goal. There's no exit links. There's no going to the Facebook page of this person that's running the business. None of that. It's just you either buy or you book a call or else you're gone from the page. That's the sole purpose of a landing page. It's a one-directional thing, right? It's either I want it or I don't. Yes or no. It's binary. So with that, it's basically my target niche is coaches, consultants, agencies. I have some students that work with ecom, and the money they're making is absurd. One guy is in 66 days now, and he's made 17,500. So from zero.
Creating landing pages for e-commerce.
Yeah, e-commerce. Yeah.
For products.
Yeah, and he's charging 2.5K per page now.
Brilliant.
So to start on Twitter from zero to that, it shows the potential in Twitter straight up there. And once you're willing to put in the work. But that brings me into the second thing I do, and that's coaching. This was launched about 70 days ago, a little under that. And it went from the free course. And that's where it all stemmed from. I wanted to create something that nobody had ever created before. And it's super hard to do that nowadays, because anything you think of, Google it and someone else has done it, right? 99 times out of 100. But me creating that free course, it was in a niche, landing pages, which, it's not a crazy niche. The market is big, but compared to something like copywriting, it's smaller. Copywriting is far more vast. But with landing pages, nobody had given away a free course. It was just unheard of. There's people charging $100 per course, and I've been told so many times that mine is much better than any free one or any paid one. So then I was thinking all along, I just want to upsell to a $100, $200 course, and that'll be it. I'll make a few sales a month and I'll be covered. My bills are covered and so on. Even though in Ireland, that's getting harder. You need like 20 sales a month. But so people advised me not to do that. I took the advice and I went straight for the higher ticket coaching. And that is, it's the price is constantly going up. It's currently at €3,500, and it started on $3,000. So when the conversion rate started changing and messing up for me, and the euro, I wasn't getting as much euro for the $3,000, I then had to switch up my model, because everyone in this space, this Twitter space, works off dollars. But I said, no, I'm just going to work off what works for me. I don't want to deal with the exchange rates going up and down. I'm like, will I get enough money this month and so on? So I just charge what I wanted to charge in my own currency. And I think that's an important thing for anyone to do. It doesn't matter if you're in Dubai, Ireland, England, charge your own currency, because everyone seems to charge in dollars. Everyone that I deal with, at least anyway, on Twitter. But it's very, very, very powerful, and you save quite a lot of money by charging in your own currency. So I'm making a short answer long, but I think coaching is my primary one now. I'm easing back off landing pages. I prefer, I get more satisfaction by teaching people. It's much more satisfying. People come into my program for a year. And to see the progress over the past just 2 months already with everyone it's fascinating. It's mind blowing. I'd rather make an individual that's stuck in their 9 to 5 an extra 3 or 5 grand per month than make a business that's already doing 200 grand an extra 20 grand.
So what you do with teaching, are you teaching the same model that you were actually executing before, or still are doing?
Yes, I teach exactly what worked for me. There's no point in me trying to reinvent the wheel for the audience of mine. It worked for me rapidly. I joined Twitter 7 months ago, and I've been able to hit 20K months.
Okay.
Within that time frame.
Which is
So
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, it's still mind blowing to me. It doesn't make sense. Your perception of money just changes radically.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the answer.
Okay. And when you teach people in your coaching program, are you teaching them, and this is kind of a key point, I think, that we get into with the online entrepreneurship, are you teaching them just the skill of executing, or are you teaching them the business model of how to get the clients for themselves as well?
It's absolutely everything. So from the start, I bring them on board. They come into a Discord, and there's everyone that's joined the program that's in the Discord. So you're greeted immediately by everyone else.
Hmm.
You feel good about making that purchase because now you have a community of like-minded people who are on the same path as you. And
Hmm.
we've adapted. I don't even just bring people in that do landing pages anymore. You can do anything. Once you have a skill, I can help you monetize it because it's the same formula to sell anything on Twitter, right? And so once you have a skill, you can come in and I can help you monetize it. So it's basically from the very start, content creation, what to post, when to post. It goes down to the nitty gritty of what time to post.
Hmm.
10 minutes later could affect your engagement. So, and I analyze all that for myself. So I just pass that information on to all of them.
Hmm.
And then after it's consistently at about 1,000 followers, people start getting booked calls a lot, right? And 1,000 followers, you might say, Mike, like that's tough. How do you get 1,000? That might take ages, but it truly takes. For me, it took 15 days. For some of my clients, it's taken 10. And again, that formula, auto DM giveaway, threads, you're there within a week or two. And you're getting book calls that quick. And from there, I actually get on those booked calls with my students because that was the most worrying thing for me at the start. I said no to many opportunities because I did not want to get on sales calls. Super, super worrying time for most people. I think 99% of people struggle with that unless you've done sales or you're just an overall very, very confident person.
Hmm.
But to display that confidence while you're selling is a different kettle of fish. So I've done probably 110, 120 sales calls now. My conversion rate is about 50%, 60% maybe.
Hmm.
So I'm confident. I love getting on sales calls. I love talking all day. And I have no fear of rejection. That's the thing. I can tell a client. Recently I went on a sales call with my student who is 17, and this was his first sales call that he got booked. 600 followers, and it was a guy with an e-com store. And I told him straight up on the call. I told him that I'm vetting you. If this does not make sense for me, I'm not working with you.
Hmm.
So for me to be in the position to actually tell him, if you don't suit me, like it's deal over. So now he's on the back foot. He's trying to win me over rather than the other way around where most people do that. Most people are chasing the client. Let the client chase you. So yeah, every step of the way, fulfillment as well. I help them because fulfillment is a scary thing. I think you get the money into your bank and you're like, yes, you have that rush of excitement, that dopamine hit. But I think when you're actually truly trying to fulfill, it's daunting, it's scary. And when you gather more and more clients, if I started in September, in December I had about 10 clients and I was under severe pressure, still working my 9 to 5, by the way. So
Hmm.
I was up at 5, asleep at 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock some mornings. And I was my 9 to 5 was a 8:30 to 7. So it wasn't quite a 9 to 5. It was much, much longer. So yeah.
We'll come back to your where you started out before in just a moment. But before that, I wanted to ask, you mentioned about being on the sales call with the client and being in a position where you're qualifying the client as much as they're qualifying you as somebody who's a good fit to work together from both sides, i.e., it's got to make sense for both of you, not just for them.
Yep.
And that's great from the perspective of somebody like you, who at this point has quite a lot of proof of results, has delivered a lot of good work to clients, and has built a reputation. How do people put themselves in a position where they can have that confidence, even when it's early days and they may not have the proof of results yet?
If you don't have the proof of results, I do not feel like you deserve to charge people for your service. You've
Okay.
not showcased your skill. I think at the very start, I advise everyone to do a couple of free pages, free landing pages, do a couple of free anything, free consults, get testimonials behind you, get video testimonials. Even if it's just a written testimonial, it'll help you push it because you can post that testimonial on Twitter. You can put that testimonial on your landing page. And then people will trust you much, much more. Plus, specifically with landing pages, you can build mock-up pages. You can use your own page as proof. Your own page, if it's super clean and super nice, aesthetically pleasing, that is social proof in itself.
Yes. So you said you've been doing this just about 7 months now, and before that you were working in a 9 to 5. Where did you actually first find out there was an opportunity to make money on Twitter, and how did you basically get into doing this?
So it was, I think, August last year. I was advised by a friend to join Twitter. It seemed like there was a good opportunity. There was a lot of people boasting how much money they made. I knew a lot of this was probably a lie. There was, and it turned out to be the case. There's a lot of liars in this industry as well, and it's easy to pick out. Once you're in it at all, it's easy to pick out people claiming that they're doing 100K per month, and granted, they might have done like 70 once, but it's often not inflated, and they might just do it once and now they'll claim it, you know. So to be realistic, I think 20 to 30K is realistic in Twitter if you're doing it with a while, many months, nonstop. But back to my own story, in August, I was advised to set up a Twitter account, so I did it. And I failed miserably. I spam followed every account under the sun. My account got shadow banned, and I had about 400 followers, and it was game over. All right. So I couldn't give up quite so easy. So in September, the middle of September, I made another account, which is my current one. And I said, I'm going to do this right. I remember my girlfriend telling me and my friends telling me, stop just spam following everyone. Just do it right. Post content. Let people come to you. Let people find you. So that's what I did. And people grasped onto me and found me very, very fast. I paid for a coaching program back then as well. And very, very beneficial. He was retweeting my stuff. He had 40K followers at the time. So that did admittedly boost everything. Right. But again, I was in my 9 to 5. I made in October $50. And after that, in November, I made a couple of thousand. And in December, I hit 10K for the first time, 10K a month.
Okay.
And it was, yeah, sorry.
Well, just wanted to ask about the 9 to 5 part. How long had you been working in a full-time job, and how did you actually kind of get aware that there was more of a better opportunity for you online in the first place?
I was working since 2017, November 2017, full-time. Came out of school, just started working full-time, did an apprenticeship for 2 years. I was not aware, but I was always fascinated by the materialistic stuff. I was fascinated by the Lamborghinis, fascinated by the mansions, the penthouses, as many of us are, especially as a young guy. And I knew there had to be something else. It was always in my head. I was always really, really good at saving money. I thought I could save my way to being rich. And truth be told, yes, I would have been okay in the long run when I was 50, 60, when I was going to retire. I definitely would have been comfortable. There's no doubt about it. But I wanted to be rich now. Right. And I'm still far from it, but I definitely live a much better lifestyle now. And I think I was always interested in YouTube, but because there's great advice on YouTube, but it's very over level and it's an overview of everything. There's no
Yes.
in-depth nitty-gritty. And I'm sure on Facebook you get really, really good information in certain Facebook groups like your own.
Hmm.
And Twitter is another place where the average person on Twitter, on say the side of Twitter that I'm posting on, is very, very tuned in. And I say that with emphasis because they try so hard. It's like they're doing this or they're failing and they're going broke. That is genuinely the mindset of a lot of these guys. And it's that all or nothing mindset. And a lot of them win, a lot of them lose. There's no doubt about it, but quite a lot of them win. If people that are doing this for a couple of years, they just don't seem to fail. You fail when you quit, right? So anyway, I saw, to simplify my answer, I saw all of this, all of these material things, and always had uh, a fond taste for it all.
Okay. When you first got in, you said you got advised by people. Did you actually like go out and look for mentorship straight away? Did you try to learn on your own first? What did you do?
Yeah, it was my friend, a good friend of mine, who's also been able to luckily quit his job, quit his 9 to 5, and he's living overseas now. And he got into it. He started networking with some people on Twitter. I realized it was a great opportunity, and he advised me to get into it. And in regards to the true mentorship, I paid for a coaching program from one of actually the biggest account that did landing pages, because I looked at landing pages and I thought I can get $300-400 for a page, because I was looking up how much do they cost, and on Google it says $300-400. But
Hmm.
when I got this membership, because I said, I mean, this will only take me a couple hours to make a page, and $400, like that's almost my weekly wage, right? For the 9 to 5. So I just trusted, and it's a gamble. I think I feel when you're not in the online space for long, you feel like it's a gamble investing someone in someone that you don't
Hmm.
know. People are very skeptical. I think especially in older generations, I think very, very skeptical. And I mean in Ireland in general, I think. In America
Hmm.
it's a little bit more advanced. There is a small community in Ireland that definitely are much more advanced than most of the country. And I think if you're in any group like your own, or even on this side of Twitter, you're definitely ahead of 99% of people, mindset wise at the very least. But I put my faith in him, and he truly showed me, from A to Z, how to build landing pages, how to build funnels, copywriting tips, all this stuff. And he didn't help me on the side of showing me how to grow on Twitter, but he was able to retweet my stuff and give me that reach that I needed.
Okay, so he actually, that was part of what he did as a student, was to platform you and to actually put you in front of the audience he'd already built for himself.
And that's something I do now for my students as well, because it's give and give back.
Okay, brilliant. And once you actually did, make the transition, when did you finally quit your 9 to 5, and how did that go?
After 118 days. I
Okay.
don't even know the date, but I know the time frame. It's on my Twitter bio with some time now, but it was definitely scary. But I said again a while ago that I was very good at saving all along. I was able to save
Hmm.
up a couple of years worth of expenses through my 9 to 5. So very, very lucky that way. Very, very privileged. And I suppose I had a head on my shoulders for that with a long, long time, whereas most people don't. And I even see it nowadays with the people on Twitter, the people that are making 10, 20, 30K a month, they just spend it all. Whereas I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm holding off, you know. And I think that's the more intelligent and wise thing to do, especially in the economy we live in. We don't know how expensive everything's going to go. Um, well, yeah, what was your question again?
The question was, how did it go when you left your 9 to 5 job?
Yeah.
Because you've got a family, you've got friends, and with things being the way they are, not every family or not every friend group is entrepreneurial. Like, I was pretty lucky in that I've always had good support from family. And when I decided to quit my job, my wife was super supportive. She's like, just do it. And my family, there's business owners in my family. So they're like, yeah, just go for it. But I mean, that's not always the way it goes. So how do people react, and how did it go when you quit?
I think there was a moment of silence, almost a moment of shock when I did quit my job. But people understood that my mentality was different. At times I lack confidence, but overall, I don't feel like there's anyone better than me. And I don't say that from a cocky mindset. I say it from a humble positioning, because it's work rate. It's not that I'm smarter than people. I'm genuinely not. I don't believe that whatsoever. But I do believe my work rate is unbeatable.
Hmm.
Like I said, you know, going to sleep at maybe 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 5:30 again. I'd no sleep for months and months. But
Mm-hmm.
my family was very supportive. My girlfriend was very supportive. Friends were too. I feel like friends, they think just because you run your business that you've endless bags of money. That's what I found.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's not always the case. There's many business owners that are poorer than the minimum wage guy, right? But I think the freedom is the greatest thing. Like us today, it's currently 3:30. Most people are in their job right now, but we're able to sit here and have a conversation because we can, and it doesn't affect
Yes.
anything. And I think that's a beautiful privilege to have, and I wish more people had it genuinely. Um, but yeah, overall, everyone was very, very supportive of me. There was that initial shock, though.
Okay. And you like sort of started out, you said primarily offering what are agency services, doing landing pages for business owners, which is the way a lot of people start on. And most people do start off with doing some kind of of a of an agency type service or freelancing in some way. And then from there, you've moved into now doing coaching and education for other people. And what are next steps after this? What is the next plan, to develop your own products, or where will you go?
Yeah, I think eventually there will be a SaaS coming from me, so software
Okay.
as a service. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I think that's where the 7 and 8 figures come in. I think that is definitely a move forward into the future, and it's a big investment. So again, you need to be willing to put up a lot of money to build a SaaS. But I do think that is where you have that 7 or 8 figure exit. Uh, it's funny, I put into my coaching group about a week or two ago. Last last October, I think it was, I said I want a school by the end of, or some sort of university, some sort of school by the end of 2023. So I started 2024. And only a couple of weeks ago, I launched the online school, which is it's for the people in the program. But launching that was a feeling of fulfillment, and it was truly one of my biggest achievements yet. And I think that's only going to expand. I want it to be accessible for everyone, and I don't want it like some Andrew Tate, Hustlers University type stuff, or just your typical stuff, right? I want to actually have actionable steps for everyone and be there helping everyone on the way. Have coaches that can coach you, people that I know personally, that I know are successful, that I know understand what they're talking about and are experts in their own right. So I think SaaS and expand my coaching and school is the way forward for me.
Okay. And for people who come to you as coaching students now, are they finding you through Twitter the same way that your clients were finding you before?
Yeah, so up till a week ago, it was anyone, the only people that were pitched were people that came through my free course, and which in turn they were on my email list.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 5 emails, they were pitched the coaching. And to even come up with the offer for the coaching, I did about 20 or 30 free consulting calls over the period of 2 days before I even came up with the offer, because I needed to know people's pain points. I needed to build trust. And this is a very important thing to do. You can't come up with an offer out of thin air and think people want it. The market might not want it. You might want it. You might think the market wants it, but in reality, it doesn't. So you actually have to do concrete research and analysis and see what the market wants, what they need. So that's what I did to come up with the offer in the first place.
Yeah, that's an important point you touched on there, and something that you see a lot, and it's the same problem again and again. People who want to get into business start from the point of view of what they want, and the type of person who goes out and says, "Oh, what's the problem that I can solve?" That's a rarer person, and that's the person who tends to do better almost instantly, because they're actually tapping into an unmet need and demand that's already there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is genuinely where many people fail, or else they do the exact same thing as 100 or 1,000 others are doing. And that's okay. But when I build a SaaS, there'll probably be something similar to it already out there. But what I'll do is put my own spin on it, put my own tweak on it. Maybe I'll put together 2 SaaSes that I think are good and make my own one. So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
And are you still doing work for clients? Are you still building landing pages for people, or?
Yeah, so I still am. I currently have 3 clients, and I'm kind of sticking with them longer term. There's constantly work for them. They're big companies. So yeah, I'll stick with them. But other than that, I won't be taking on too many more. If a deal makes sense to me, if I genuinely just enjoy or think I'll enjoy the project, then I will take it. But I'm lucky enough again to be in a position where I can just say no if I don't want it.
Just drill in a little deeper on that, about just clients, the type of clients that are useful to you, are most valuable to you, are the type of clients who need more than one landing page, right? They need recurring work that you're going to be doing for them again and again. How do you go about finding clients who want that, or who need that, as opposed to clients who might just need one landing page and then you might not need you again for another 6 months?
Yeah, I think it's perceived value, and this kind of, I'll just touch on this point before I answer your question. But at the start I thought I could charge 300 or 400 for a landing page, whereas now I can charge 2,500 for one, and it's completely perceived value. It's ROI, it's return on investment. What will they get in return? So by me having clients that are doing 10 million a year, I can charge them, to be honest, if I make them, let's say, a 1% gain through what I can do with a landing page, I can charge them 10 grand. Once they get a return on investment, it's worth it for them. And a lot of these larger companies, their margins are actually so small that they're over the world with 0.5 increase in the margin. So, and it can equate to hundreds and thousands. So I think for me, it's been a reputation thing. It's been performed for the small clients. People pass the name on. I had a call last week with actually someone I would potentially be working with long term, and he's a multimillionaire over and over again, and he is helping his friend bring a garage door business or a garage sales business from 4 million to 20 million per year. And this is a passion project for him. So and he told me he was advised to contact me by 2 high-level guys. There was no names, no nothing, but 2 high-level guys advised him to contact me. So I hope that deal goes through. It suits me very much so. I think there's a revenue share opportunity there as well. And I think you level up yourself. I don't do outbound. I don't do outbound DMs, outbound emails, cold email, any of that. Everything has always been inbound. People have come to me because I'm that authority in the space. But there is room for absolutely everyone in here.
Just touching on that again, what you said about favoring inbound over outbound, and you mentioned that opportunities are coming through people referring you into projects. What does that really come down to? I mean, there's 2 elements. There's the networking element, which is actually getting known by the people in the industry, and then the second industry is actually the results speak for you. So can you speak to both of those?
Yeah. I think from the networking element, I'm not corporate. You're not going to see me in a suit unless I'm going to some major event. I'm here in my tracksuit. I'm relaxed. I never turn up to a call feeling uncomfortable. I am the way I am. And anyone that tries to be corporate with me, I just don't have it. Yes, I'll speak professionally and concisely, but I'll have a normal conversation with you. I don't care if you're making 50 million a year or 1,000 per year. I'll treat you the exact same. And that's where a lot of people don't. People, and I was the same at the start. When I knew I was going to be on calls with CEOs and stuff like this, I was like, oh no, this is tough. Because I think in our 9 to 5s, like our boss, they can put so much pressure on you. They dictate how you feel at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
If they're complimenting you and telling you you've done an absolutely brilliant job for the company, you're over the moon. But if they're giving you stick and you're getting warnings, you're getting this and that, you have to work harder, you have to do this better, they can not say ruin your life, but they make you feel like you're in a very, very difficult position. And you take that home as well at the end of the day. That doesn't just stay in work 9 times out of 10. You take that home. And so no matter what I've learned, I don't care who you are. I'll treat you the exact same. I don't, and again, this is coming from a privileged situation, as I've said, and it wasn't always this case. I'm not always privileged until quite recently, but I don't need a deal. And I think abundance is very important. There's an abundance of money. There's an abundance of clients. Even when I have weeks that are quiet, it's like, I know something's going to come. Your perception of money, I think, in this online world especially, is warped, extremely warped. Now I earn, if I say 3,000-4,000 from a client, that was more than my monthly salary before. Now I can make that 2-3 times in a week, and your perception is completely warped. But I think down to the point of fulfillment, I work till I get the results. My guarantee for landing pages at the start was that I will work with you until we 2x your conversion rate. There was nobody else offering this at the time. Nobody. Because it was a risk. How often can you realistically 2x the conversion rate on someone's landing page? Very rarely, but it's possible if the right traffic is coming to it, if they're actually doing a good job with their ads, their offer is good. If you're able to get them to take new images of a product, maybe a video of a product, and get more personal on a page, maybe better copywriting, if it's an agency or if they're selling some sort of service, I would advise them on all that as well. I would almost do consulting on top of the design and copywriting. So I'd always go that step further. I'd always offer them consulting calls. There was no issue. Whatever the time, I've got up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I still do it to this day to speak to clients and students because of different time zones, different stuff, and that kind of brings me to another point. When you do work for yourself, there's no such thing as a 9 to 5. If something needs to be done, it needs to be done. It doesn't matter what the time is. But yeah, fulfillment it's the ultimate test, and that will bring you a long, long way in business.
What I've found the last few years is my clients, for the most part, come from, and I've worked with people in all over the world, in all different countries. But when I look at it, it's the US, it's Canada, and it's the UK. Really, the 3 places my clients come from. I've done a tiny bit of business in Ireland, but I've preferred to work with clients from other places. It's been just better from various factors. I don't want to get in there. I don't want to criticize Irish business. It's just that I found it's better for me to work with clients from the US, Canada, and the UK. And I've actually, other side didn't work in other English-speaking countries. Canada and Australia and New Zealand, I found didn't work, even though the clients are there and you can get paid. Just the time zone thing, that the fact that you're at 12 hours. I mean, there's always so much communications lag because it's their evening when it's your morning. I don't work with clients from that side of the world anymore because I just don't find it's a very good arrangement for anybody. But just, can you talk about that, about where you find your clients, and has that been an issue?
It's currently, I wouldn't say it's an issue for me, right? I've had one landing page client that was on that side of the world from Australia. I have 2 students currently that are from Australia. And we have an end of day report, okay, inside the Discord, and you type in what you've done for the day. So, and every morning I ask everyone, what's your plan of action for the day? So I'm about to ask them what their plan of action for the day is, but they're already putting in their end of day report. I'm like, what? It's mind blowing that they're just such an extreme and so far ahead. But I work it, they have sales calls at crazy times for us, but I still jump on it with them. I think, again, I kind of mentioned this earlier. There's nobody that'll work harder than me in my head. I'm sure there is, but in my head, there's nobody that'll work harder than me. So if I need to get up at what is a ridiculous time for us to help them, I will do it. Because again, you help them enough and referrals come back. More social proof comes back. So I think I'm at the early stages though, where I'm still willing to do that. I'm sure in a few years' time I'll be sick of it and I'll just want to go to sleep. But I think primarily, I think the American time zone works absolutely beautiful for someone trying to get out of their 9 to 5. Because when we finish up work, it's like midday for them. So it worked very, very well for me when I was in the 9 to 5 working with Americans. I remember during when I was working at like 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, people in the UK wanting to do calls with me. I was in the van. I was like, blur the back of my camera and and try and get through this in the van, But yeah, I think that, say, the Western side of the world is much easier to work with.
Yes, and then just coming on to the point of view of like proof, you mentioned about collecting testimonials, collecting case studies, and those kinds of things. Just talk a little bit about that, because online it's a little bit harder to get people's trust in you. So what do you do to actually collect evidence that you are capable of the things you say you're capable of?
I think visual evidence is the biggest thing. And with landing pages, it was literally showcasing the landing pages I've built on Twitter. It wasn't even showing the conversion rates. I never needed to do that, to be quite honest. And my students don't need to either. It's showcasing literally the page that you can build. Does that look nice? Because we'll worry about the conversion rate stuff, but that's our job. But you need to be just like drawn in by the aesthetics of it in the first place. And I get all my students to do before and after threads. And by that, I mean, one actually did one for Rolex today. And it was Rolex's landing page before. So currently Rolex's landing page, and he redesigned it. And it looks just 10 times better. Right. So it's a visual representation of what I can actually do. I think that's the absolute best way to get clients. And they're printing calls from this. To be honest, it's been the biggest thing, the biggest game changer that I've come across in a long, long time. For my coaching business, at the end of the day, it's money. People are investing into me. I need to fulfill for them by helping them make money. Right. So it's student interviews and they state how much they make. Nobody has an issue doing that, because I help them so much that they're quite happy to state whatever it needs to be to help me in return. But I think the figures speak. Figures definitely speak for coaching. For someone to spend 3 or 4K and get 17K in return in 60 whatever days, that is just absurd. To be honest, I've never seen that done before. I'm sure, look, he'll probably hit 20K earned by the end of the week. It wouldn't surprise me, to be quite honest. He's actually turning.
That is a fantastic result. For somebody like him who's relevant you, how does he balance then? Because clearly if he's doing, with sales as well, a lot of it's to do with confidence. And if you're actually getting out there selling, closing deals, and you're on a roll, how do you balance that with also actually being able to fulfill and still do great quality work for the clients?
Yeah, so With the sales, I still review. He records all the sales calls now. So we did the first couple together, and he was like, "No, I'm good. I need to learn on my own from now." So he actually still records them all, and I review every single one. And there's a lot, right? So there's a lot from everybody. It's a lot of work for me reviewing them all, because I go into the finest of details to make sure everything is done right. You're closing correctly on call. You're taking payment on call. You're saying the right things. You're not hesitating. You're not saying, and I do that quite a lot myself, so a lot of it is very, very in depth, the review. And it takes time to get out of those bad habits, these issues that we're having. But there's always progress. And with fulfillment, especially for him, with having so many clients, it's currently 10 clients, by the way. And he has to bring people on board. So when you're building landing pages and you get to that place where you're earning between the 10, 15K per month, you have to build systems out. And I had to do this as well. I still have people, contractors doing work for me. And you, first of all, look, it's very hard to find a good contractor that's reliable, trustworthy. I have them already, so I'm able to help him out in that regard. But he's found one or two as well that he likes and gets along with, and they provide really, really good results. But you have to expand. You can only do so much as one person. But again, you need to try and trust people to fulfill as much as well as you would, and that's the difficult thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just at the point where I'm like I've hired people, let people go, and I've really just come to a point recently where I've got a little core of 3-4 people who I trust to help me, and I'm now saying, okay, where can I actually get better value out of the people I've got around me, build a bigger offer, and onboard more clients, because I got the capacity now to fulfill. But it takes a long time to build that trust where people will actually do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, massively. And one of the people that works for me, he's a friend since we were kids. He's the guy that advised me to get on Twitter. So it's very easy to trust him in that regard. Another guy, look, we just me and him just clicked from the start, and it was very, very easy to work with him, and he was very, very talented. But it's definitely hard, and I can definitely understand that. I've had people as well that just haven't a clue what they're doing, and you have to try and put together the pieces at the end of it. But that's the way it goes.
Okay. And Mike, before we wrap up, if you were, just for people who are in the position you were in maybe 8 months ago, where they really are tired of working in a job, they'd love to be a business owner or do something where they're in control of their own destiny. How do they get over the hump, get past the fear, and actually say, okay, I'm going to do this?
I think the biggest thing is putting money on the line. And I do not say this to promote myself, but I have done it myself as well. So I'm speaking from experience. Genuinely find someone that's trustworthy, whether it be me, you, someone, whoever provides a genuine, trustworthy coaching program and will be there step by step with you, who will do calls with you every single week. And I think that's someone that's not too big, because people with 200K followers on Twitter, they're just, you're never going to speak with them, right?
Yeah.
But genuinely put the money up. It should sting. The investment should sting, because you need to put in the work. You need to get that return. But I think that is the way forward for most people. A lot of people nowadays lack the ability to just put in work. It's laziness, to be quite honest. But it's fear as well. And I completely understand that fear. But I definitely think put your money up front and you will work very, very hard to get that return.
Yeah, I agree with what you say about actually working with people who have a smaller coaching group, because the bigger groups, they become a victim of their own success in a way. I've seen it myself. There was one I was in at one point, and it was a very expensive one, over 5 figures, and it was brilliant at the beginning, but it became massively successful and went from about 90 people, and it was amazing, up to 200 people, where it was sort of like, okay, a bit frayed around the edges, to 300 people, and suddenly it's like, the quality of service here is, considering the amount of money that's being charged, it doesn't match up anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I see that without naming anything, I see that as well with uh, multiple programs, and 200-300 people charging 10-15K, and it's not something I'd advise. So you have to be very careful on who you do invest that money into.
Yeah, I think there has to be a level of personal connection with the person teaching you.
Yeah,
Really, like if that person has a team, it's fine. But I think it's somewhat like, the way they structure things in the military, that like teams of 8. For every person teaching, you maybe can have 8 to 10 people that they can serve directly. And if they need to serve 30 or 40, then they're going to have to build a team of 3 or 4 people around them to help with delivering that service.
100%, 100%. I currently have 15 people in my program,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm able to handle it. But I do have a little bit of assistance in certain areas. So
Yeah.
I'm still very one-on-one. I still have calls every day with everyone, and there's group calls every week as well. But I think when you start, I know I couldn't handle 30 or 40, so it's going to be very limited from now on. It'll be limited slots per month, but I think that's better. It's better to get the results.
Okay. And Mike, just before we wrap up, finally, where do people find you online if they want to look for you?
On Twitter, it's at Mike_Scully_, if I'm right.
Okay, I'll find it. I'll stick it in the video description anyway. Okay, thank you very
Perfect.
much for coming online and speaking to me today. And I'm going to stop the recording now. Cheers, Mike.
Much, John.